In the past, we've had instances where regulations are late. The report is not even provided for the House at least to have a bite and make consequential guidance. And Mr. Speaker, as noted by the chair of the committee, one of the principal responsibilities of the Committee of Subsidiary Legislation, which has been satisfied in this instance, I need the Constitution, is whether the regulation is consistent with the provisions of the Parent Act, and whether the regulations and the Parent Act are respecting the tenets of the provisions of the 1992 Constitution. I've noted that they have provided for all that. And then in particular, Mr. Speaker, the purpose of the regulation is carefully provided for under Regulations 1. And then for our learners, Article 11.7 of the Constitution, for those who have studied law, we describe it as the hierarchy of the laws in order of significance or importance: the Constitution, enactments, orders, rules, and regulations. But Mr. Speaker, 11.7 says that any order, rule, or regulation made by a person or authority under a power conferred by this Constitution or any other law shall be laid before Parliament. It's been laid, published in the Gazette. So again, for our new members of Parliament, normally when a bill is introduced, you go to the back page and see whether it's been gazetted or not. And it's for two important reasons. Yesterday, the leadership were debating it. It's whether a bill, even though this is a regulation, so there's a difference between a bill and a regulation, is whether a bill laid before Parliament satisfies the requirement of Article 106 of the Constitution, explanatory memorandum and other issues. We take it for granted. And yesterday, the leader tried to resolve it. But what is important for members of Parliament is that it shall not come into force or at the expiration of 21 sitting days after being so late, unless Parliament, by the expiration of the 21 days, annuls the order. So the only power we have here is that we can annul, but we can only annul with a vote of not less than 2/3. So that once it is late, Mr. Speaker, as you used to observe in your last life at the other side, you were one of the expertise in this area, is whether there can be correction to a regulation once it's laid before the House. And we've been guided by the reference you've always made to the Supreme Court ruling on the matter. So, Mr. Speaker, finally, on the content itself, Mr. Speaker, there are many companies in Ghana, even today, that are in distress, and I hope that colleagues will tolerate me. It's not to do politics. If you were a company in 2019 or 2021, and you went in to borrow at the exchange rate of $6 to $1, by 2023-24, the same $6 from $18 million became $36 million. Naturally, that company would be in distress. And that company is likely to be cited for liquidation or insolvency. Now, with this law, you are giving hope to many of those entities that know, undertake some restructuring and see whether you can. So that's why the performance of government has some significance on how the private sector and corporate entities survive and thrive. So if you took a loan in 2019 at $6, 18 million times $3 million, the same $3 million, because of exchange rate differentials, became $32 million. How is any company going to work and pay that? This provides an opportunity that no, it is not the doing of the company. It is not. Therefore, give the company an opportunity in order to be able to have life. With this comment, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. The debate, the question.
Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations. The circumstances that necessitated the closure of the following radio stations: Fire Group of Companies, Sunyani 90.1 megahertz, One ZA Consult Limited, Tamale 89.7 megahertz, Abu Channel Media Group, Adidume 105.7 megahertz, Ochami Radio Limited, Bibieni 99.7, Mume Bono Foundation Techiman 99.7, Osikeni Community FM, Kwanta 99.7, and Guma FM station. Thank you, Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The 6 FM stations were directed to cease operations on 18th of February 2025 by the National Communications Authority because they did not have valid authorizations as required by Section 2.4 of the Electronic Communications Act 2008, Act 775. The stations were Fire Group of Companies Limited operating on 90.1 megahertz in Sunyani, ISA Consult Limited operating on 89.7 megahertz in Tamale, Abu Channel Media Group operating on 105.7 megahertz at Adidome, Ochami Radio Limited operating on 99.7 megahertz in Bibieni, Mumin Bono Foundation operating on 99.7 megahertz in Techiman, and Osikeni Community FM operating on 99.7 megahertz at Nkrantkwanta. It is important to note that prior to taking the enforcement actions, Mr. Speaker, all the affected FM stations were given the opportunity to renew their expired authorizations, but they failed to do so. However, the authorizations granted to the 7th radio station, Guma and Sons Limited, to operate a commercial FM station at Boku on 104.9 megahertz was suspended on national security considerations based on a request from the Ministry of Interior acting on the advice of the Upper East Regional Security Council. However, Mr. Speaker, all the other 6 radio stations have since resumed operations after they rectified their infractions. I thank you.
Honorable Member, any supplementary question?
Speaker, let me thank the Minister for the answers duly provided. Can the Minister apprise this House? Yes, I consider it's given a general nature of infractions. Can he give us the specific infractions related to specific radio stations that were reportedly committed?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I can provide the House specifics. I'll just try and pull that out. Yes. So, Mr. Speaker, in the case of Fire Group of Companies Limited, they were granted the authorization to operate a commercial FM station at Sunyani on 6th of January 2020. This expired on the 5th of January 2025. Fire Group of Companies Limited was required per Regulation 56(1) of the Electronic Communications Regulation 2011 LI 1991 and Condition 4 of the authorization to submit a complete application at least 3 months prior to the expiration of the authorization to renew the said authorization. Mr. Speaker, the NCA notified Fire Group of Companies Limited in a letter dated 16th of December 2024 to submit a complete application to renew its authorization by 5th of January 2025. Fire Group of Companies Limited, however, failed to submit the renewal. Following the expiration of the company's authorization on 5th January 2025, the NCA issued a letter dated 18th February 2025 directing them to cease operation. Like I stated earlier, the station has subsequently submitted a new application and we are processing it, but even during the processing period, in the spirit of good faith, we have asked them to resume operations. 2, the case of ISA Consult Limited. They were granted authorization to operate a commercial FM station in Tamale on 19th November 2018. Again, per Regulation 56.1 of the ECR 2011 LI 1991 and Condition 5 of their authorization, they ought to have submitted a complete application 3 months prior to the expiration of their authorization. ISA Consult failed to do so. Following the expiration of the company's authorization on 18th November 2023, the NCA issued a letter dated 12 February 2024, directing ISA Limited to cease and desist its operations. ISA applied for a new authorization in Tamale on 21st August 2024. They were issued a provisional authorization on 13th November 2024 and were asked to settle the provisional authorization fee of 61,985 Ghana cedis by 12th of January 2025. They failed to pay the authorization fee, leading to the suspension of the authorization. They have since made payment, and we have once again given them permission to go back on air. Abo Channel Media Group. They got their authorization to operate on 105.7 at Adidome in the Volta region on 20th July 2010. It expired on 19th July 2015. Again, on 12th of July 2015, they were asked by the NCA to submit an application to renew by the 10th of August 2015. Abo Channel submitted a renewal on 4th November 2015. The company was given a provisional license on 8th August 2016. They paid the authorization fee on 29th March 2017. Mr. Speaker, that authorization expired on 6th March 2023. Abo Channel submitted an incomplete renewal application on 15th March 2023. The NCA requested Abo Channel to submit their SNIT clearance, their tax clearance, and their audited financial statements and NCA Form AP01B by 10th June 2023. Abo Channel informed the NCA on 6th of November 2023 that due to the nature of their business being not-for-profit, an audited financial statement, SNIT, and tax clearance certificate. However, the legal division of the NCA on 23rd February 2024 recommended that the request for waiver by Abo Channel Media Group should be denied and the company should be requested to submit same. The NCA communicated same to Abo Channel on 12th March 2024. Mr. Speaker, as Minister, given the failure to submit all of these documents since 2023 and despite the refusal of the waiver by the NCA in 2024, we took the policy decision to suspend their operations. Abo Channel, in a letter dated 10th March 2025, requested for another waiver of the same tax clearance and TIN number from GRA. We declined. They have hitherto submitted those documents and we've allowed them to go back on air. Ochiami Radio, also similar situations. It's all about the request to submit the documents and reapply, but failure to do so. And so, Mr. Chairman, if I have leave of the questioner, it's the same scenario across all the other 6, and we have since allowed them, once they've complied with the law, to go back on air. I thank you.
Any further question?
Yeah, Speaker. May I find out from the Minister if there are plans to engage the National Media Commission in a bid to encourage compliance and also respecting the relevant laws. I'm sure he will be happy to see the stations complying to the provisions of the law. And I'm wondering what collaborative effort he wishes to engage the Media Commission in this regard or in this context.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to commend the questioner for this question because it's critical that we make this point clear because the country listens to Parliament. The law, when it comes to the renewal of a frequency authorization, and especially because we have members of Parliament who own radio stations, please take note, the law is clear. You do not renew your radio license when it expires. You must renew your radio license at least 90 days before the expiration date. So if you do not renew and we get into the 90 days to the expiration, your license cannot be renewed for you. It has to be a fresh authorization. This is the position of the law. And so many media houses do not even renew in the 90 days, and then they come post the expiration of their licenses asking for renewals. You can only do a fresh application. And when you do a fresh application, you now have to go through the whole process again of inspection and verification and provision license authorizations and test transmission. All of that must be done again. So our appeal to media houses is we respect the freedom of expression, but as media practitioners, you have a responsibility to respect the law. And so we have engaged the Media Foundation for West Africa. We have also engaged the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association to draw their attention. In fact, what the NCA does is that the NCA issues a notice to you 6 months to the expiration. So that's 3 months before your window closes. The NCA writes to you to notify you. But many times, and Mr. Speaker, if my memory serves me right, in the case of, for example, Woon2Me Multimedia, which was part of the second batch of shutdowns we did, the NCA wrote to Woon2Me in 2022, wrote back in 2023. And so it is on the back of these notices that we take enforcement action. So once again, I think that it's a timely question and that the media houses should take advantage to bear in mind that 90 days to the expiration of their license, they must indicate their willingness to renew. And we will continue to send the notices 6 months to the time and 3 months to the time from the regulator. I thank you.